Yeah, we'll continue the discussion. We saw what is direct sequence spread spectrum technique. We discussed both transmitter as well as receiver. And this is the second context, that is with modulation, band pass. And if it is baseband, like as I said earlier, if it is baseband, only thing this modulation part will not be there. So in this, if you look at this block diagram, if it were to be baseband, then this part wouldn't be there and this part wouldn't be there. It will be directly the data signal B of t will be multiplied with a pseudo noise sequence to give the resultant signal, product signal, which will be transmitted to the channel, and at the receiver, the received signal will be once again multiplied with the locally generated PN sequence, correct? And this would be the data signal back. So that is the case of baseband. Now, another important term in the spread spectrum modulation is the processing gain. What is this processing gain? Basically, this processing gain, it tells us something about the gain obtained by using by spreading and despreading, because we spread the spectrum at the transmitter and transmit, at the receiver will be despreading the spectrum to recover back the message signal. So basically, what is the advantage in doing this? We know that it helps us in protecting the data from the jammer signal. In addition to that, we have some gain that is called as processing gain. So this is in short PG, which is the gain obtained by the use of spreading and despreading action, or by the use of spread spectrum technique. How do we compute this processing gain and how is it defined? It can be derived to compute the processing gain. We need to derive the relationship. We should know the relationship between signal to noise ratio at the input of the receiver and signal to noise ratio at the output of the receiver. So at the receiver, we should know what is the signal to noise ratio at the input and what is the signal to noise ratio at the output of the receiver. That will give us an idea of what is the processing gain. So let's see how to calculate this processing gain. So to start with that, first of all, we need to write the expressions for signal to noise ratio at the input of the receiver and signal to noise ratio at the output of the receiver, right? So at the input and output signal to noise ratio. This part, it explains signal to noise ratio expression at the receiver input. So SNR I stands for SNR at the receiver input. Here SNR O stands for SNR at the output of the receiver. So first let us see this SNR at the receiver expression. So SNR should be the ratio of signal power, average signal power divided by average noise power. And what is the noise here? We have assumed that the interference, this is the jammer or the jamming signal, right? That's why we wrote y of t as x of t plus j of t. So here at the receiver input, we have average signal power at the receiver input. This talks only about the signal part, that is EB by TB. Why EB by TB? EB is the signal energy, EB is signal energy, and divided by 1 bit duration. So this, it is average signal power. So EB by TB is average signal power at the receiver input. That means here at the same time there is an amount of interference power also at this place. So that is average interference or jammer power at the receiver input. Let us call it as J. So SNR at the input of the receiver, SNR I is equal to EB over TB whole divided by J. So this is about the signal to noise ratio at the receiver input. Now let us come to the discussion of we'll try to write the expression for SNR at the output of the receiver. Average signal power at the receiver output EB and average interference or jammer power at the receiver output is JTC divided by 2. we'll not worry about the derivation of this. So SNRO, that is SNR at the receiver output is given by EB over JTC by 2. So if you rewrite it, it is 2 times EB over J times TC. And it can be further written as SNRO is equal to 2 times TB by TC into SNRI. And if you rewrite this in terms of in decibels, it is in dB, um, 10 log to base 10 SNRO. You know why it is 10 log, why not 20 log? Because it is the ratio of powers. 10 log to base 10 SNRO is equal to 10 log to base 10 SNRFI plus 10 log to base 10 2, that is almost equal to 3, plus 10 log to base 10 of TB by TC. And what is TB by TC? In the previous slides, we had seen that TB by TC is equal to N. That is called as the spreading factor here. So in dB, it is 10 log to base 10 SNRO is equal to 10 log to base 10 SNRI plus 3 dB, that is 10 log to base 10 of 2 plus 10 log to base 10 of TB by TC. So gain at the receiver, what is the gain in SNR at the receiver output now? This is SNR at the output, SNR at the input. So how much is the gain? Gain is given by the last two terms. So what are these two now? This 3 dB gain corresponds to the gain due to coherent detection, and this 10 log to base 10 TB by TC or 10 log to base 10 N. This is the gain due to spreading the spectrum. So gain due to coherent detector is 3 dB and gain due to spread spectrum is 10 log to base 10 TB by TC, which is called as the processing gain. That is PG, processing gain in dB. And the spreading factor, we know it is named as N. It is defined as N, which is TB over TC. Next, let us look at the problem. We'll compare the probability of error with and without spreading. Without spreading and despreading, it is just the action of only modulator and demodulator. That means these two are not there. We have only modulator and demodulator. In that case, we are already derived the expression for probability of error. In the fourth module itself, it was PE is equal to 1 over 2 ERFC of root of EB by N naught. This is for coherent BPSK. Now, with spreading and despreading, it is possible to show that, derive that probability of error is approximately equal to half ERFC of root of EB over JTC. So what is J here? J is the jammer power and TC is the chip duration. And if you compare, and it is if you compare these two, noise power spectral density, that is N0 by 2, can be equated to JTC by 2. This is N0 JTC. So N0 by 2 is almost equal to, it can be equated to JTC by 2. This is the variance of jammer interference and this is the noise power spectral density. So noise power spectral density can be equated to the variance of jammer interference. So one important point to note here is, like, as TC decreases, that means if TC is very small, this input argument for ERFC will be more. And if the input argument for ERFC increases, that means it results in decrease in the probability of error. Correct? So the smaller the value of TC, we can see that variance of jammer interference, that is JTC by 2, decreases. If this decreases, this root of EB over JTC increases, and ERFC of a value which is increased will be less. That means probability of error in turn decreases. That means with the variation in TC, with decrease in the value of TC, it is possible to decrease the probability of error. Next, let us look at Another important term called as jamming margin. We already understood what is the processing gain, which is the gain due to the spreading and despreading action. Now let us see what is this jamming margin. Average signal power is equal to signal energy per bit duration. That means P. This average signal power defined as P, which is given by EB by TB. So EB is equal to product of P and TB. And we know that N0 is equal to JTC. So we are dividing the left hand side by N0 and right hand side PTB by JTC. And after further rearrangement, if we can rewrite this equation as J by P is equal to processing gain. What is processing gain here? TB over TC is the processing gain. PG divided by EB by N0. And this J by P is called as the jamming margin. So what exactly is this? It's an indication of by what factor the interference at the receiver input can be with reference to the received signal power. That means how bad can be the receiver input compared to the original signal that is transmitted. So once again, let me repeat. It's an indication of by what factor the interference at the receiver input can be with reference to the received signal power. So as detect the information bits reliably. And if this equation is put in terms of decibels, 10 log to base 10 J by P is processing gain put in dB minus 10 log to base 10 of EB by N0 minimum. And where EB by N0 minimum is the minimum signal to noise ratio required to support the given probability of error. Why do we say minimum? Because if a probability of error value is given, to maintain that, what should be the signal to noise ratio, minimum signal to noise ratio? Because even if suppose if your SNR is more than the minimum, no problem, probability of error will not increase. Of course it decreases, but it will not increase. That's why we have put it as EB by N0 minimum value. Based on this, we'll just consider a numerical. A spectrum communication system has the following parameters. Information bit duration is given as 4.095 milliseconds. What is the notation used to denote this? TB. So TB is equal to 4.095 milliseconds and PN chip duration is equal to TC equal to 1 microsecond. So if you go back, you can see this was our TB and this is a small one is TC. So now this is 4.095 millisecond and this is 1 microsecond. Right? Assuming the average probability of error not to exceed 10 power minus 5. That means we don't want to have an average probability of error more than 10 power 5 for a satisfactory reception with coherent DPSK receiver. Calculate the jamming margin. And with this was the equation which was written earlier in decibel. Solution for the problem. Processing gain is N, which is same as the spreading factor, that is TB over TC. So in this case, substituting the numbers, we see that N is 4095. If you put it in dB, that means 10 log to base 10 of 4095 turns out to be 36.123 decibels. And it's given that probability of error should be, it should not exceed 10 power 5. So less than or equal 10 power 5. That means the minimum signal to noise ratio, EB by N0, it can be more than that. That's why EB by N0 is greater than or equal to 8.9041. How is this written? Probability of error is given as maximum is 10 power minus 5. To get the value of EB by N0, we need to go back to this equation. This is the probability of error in case of binary PSK, coherent PSK, which says it is P is half ERFC of root TB by N0. So ERFC of root TB by N0 is 2 times probability of error. And in this case, what is that probability of error? It should be at the max 10 power minus 5. So 2 times 10 power minus 5 here PE, now this 2 goes here. So ERFC of root of EB by N naught will be 2 into 10 power minus 5. You have to refer to the error function tables and get the value of EB by N naught. Then you can verify that EB by N naught will be greater than or equal to 8.9401. And if you put it in dB, that means 10 log to base 10, 8.9401 turns out to be 9.513 dB. Okay. So what we have done, we have the value of processing gain in decibel, this one, and we also have this 10 log to base 10 EB by N naught minimum, that is 9.513 decibel. So how much is jamming margin? Jamming margin is the subtraction 36.123 minus 9.513 dB, which turns out to be 26.61 dB. So what it means, if you go back to this, jamming margin, we have got it as 26.61 dB. That means the interference at the receiver input can be 26.67 dB greater than the received signal power, so as to detect the information bits reliably. Up to that, it is possible to detect the information bits reliably.